Then the second presentation is from the article COVID Library Consortium, the experience of a collaborative project of 4 Hispanic higher institutions in Puerto Rico. Carlos Espo is the author of this article, and he is the virtual librarian for the consortium of Bibliotecas since 2007. He has researched new technologies for the consortium virtual library and presents its members for their as a librarian, he has worked in the and the University the Sacred Heart cataloging different formats. He has developed policies and procedures of cataloging process. Also, he has worked providing support to library users. So welcome, Carlos Espo from Cabinet. Go on, Carlos.
Hello to all. Thank you for inviting me. I don't know if you can hear me well. I hope. One thing that I wanted to discuss right away, I'm going to be submitting a new article for our journal, HETS Journal. So you will be expecting that probably by the middle of December, so that we can evaluate it. It's regarding project management. I know in libraries, implementing library projects. So it would be very good for us that work in trying to implement distance learning projects for library purposes. So that will be coming out probably by the middle of December, as I said. Well, one of the things that I wanted to discuss right away is one of the great opportunities that the HETS Consortium is bringing to all of us is that in this type of publication, we have many types of disciplines and subjects, not only technological, but also in terms of services and also in terms of assessment. So I want to clap on that. I'm very happy for that, that we have a place to write peer-reviewed articles regarding different subjects. It's a consortium. Basically, it's a consortium of 7 higher education institutions in regards with library services. I'm going to be talking a little bit about the article of how COVID came to be. And basically, the consortium started prior to being a consortium, a Title V project in 2002. So we're currently 8 years old. So it was from 2002 to 2007. How it came to be? Well, the article describes the challenges, the needs, and the goals of Puerto Rico libraries, in higher education institutions. And to achieve our goals, basically, the members consortium considered the common needs of each of the participating libraries in terms of technology, library services, information resources, budget constraint, and professional development. We try to work with what made us common. So the issues that we had in common in terms of technology, resources, budgets, and professional development of our personnel, both in libraries and technology areas. Well, what was the problem? Well, basically, the problem is that our institution, the seven institutions, with the pace of information technology demands, and to adequately provide library resources and faculty, they were also unable to individually provide reliable and accessible virtual library services to meet informational needs and students and faculty. Technology is constantly changing. That's something that we cannot, as an institution, keep up with the latest, but we can also move forward and try to do it and do it in a fairly efficient way if we work together, and that's what COVIMED brought. Work together cooperatively to get those resources and to get that information and to get those personnel teams ready. In 5 years, COVIMED, in the first 5 years of the Title V project, COVIMED, library resources went from starting 8 databases, from journal databases and library and to almost 57. Now we are 102 databases, and we have maintained, and the prices in terms of the cost of these databases fairly within a reasonable status. So basically, the article describes some of the how the goals were achieved, and in terms of the data that we gathered through the whole project. So I invite everyone to read it and see for yourself in terms of how these goals were achieved in terms of quantity and quality of the service provided. So that's basically what I wanted to present today.
All right, thanks very much, Carlos, and really appreciate the awareness that you have to share with the rest of the community, the HETS Journal. This title is Using Classroom Clicker Technology to Enhance Student Engagement. And we have, that was submitted by 3 different authors, and today we are 2 of them. Dr. Kathleen Hartman is a professor in the Advising Center for Undeclared Students at Kurztown University. She received National Outstanding Advising Awards in 2007 from the National Advising Association. She has also published several articles and has presented at national conferences on first-year students and college success. She is the author of 35 Ways to Discover a Major, second edition, and the co-author of Investing in Your College Education, second edition, both published by Cengage Learning 2010. Professor William is an associate professor and chairman of the Department of Learning Technologies at Cuomo University, one of our health institutions. He has worked in the instructional technology field for nearly 20 years, and has published a variety of articles about teaching and learning using classroom technologies, including several classroom clicker system articles. Thank you both for joining us today and brief presentation about this article.
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity to work with the HETS organization and to publish in the inaugural journal edition. Kathy and I and Dr. Brancato have been working with technology for quite a bit. In Kurztown in particular, we've been working with clickers since 2006. So we wanted to share with you a brief foundation of why Kurztown University went with a clicker scheme, and then Dr. Hartman was going to discuss specifically how we were using the clicker devices to enhance student engagement. So to get started, so you have a bit of background, we were using clickers in frankly a rather ad hoc manner at Kurztown. There was no standard before 2006, so various professors would adopt various clickers, and that strategy worked well enough, but it was challenging for students. In the course of a student's tenure, they might need, potentially 2 or 3 different clicker systems. So that was a bit chaotic. You would have to have one clicker system for one class, another for a second class, so forth and so on. Additionally, it made it very difficult for the institution to provide any kind of consistent support for the devices. Typically, the professor and the students would be on their own to work through any kind of difficulties with the clicker technology. So what we decided to do to counter that issue was put together a group of faculty, students, and administrators to look at various clicker options. One of the many criteria that we used in the clicker selection was it had to work seamlessly and easily for both students and faculty. So that was key. We didn't want a clicker system, for instance, that had an onerous registration process. We looked at some very nice clickers that required students to register each semester using a credit card through the internet. Obviously, for our demographic, that might not always be possible. That would really present a challenge to our students. One of the criteria that we put forth was the devices had to work properly on both a Mac and a PC. So that immediately eliminated a number of options for the Mac computers. We didn't want the clickers tied to a specific textbook publisher. So we wanted to be sure that any clicker that we selected could be used with a variety of instructional techniques and not be bound to a particular publisher. And a large driving factor back in 2006 was a large classroom environment that we moved to at Kurztown. A typical classroom at KU would be perhaps 20 to 30 students. In a large classroom, we had the potential of, typically up to 150, even more. So one of our challenges is how do we engage that number of students? It's easy enough to learn names and call on students in a smaller classroom, but when we get to that size classroom, how do we approach the interaction with our students? The system that we identified works with a typical PowerPoint lecture. So the lecture is done in a traditional manner, but the PowerPoint has embedded clicker questions. That doesn't mean that the professor is necessarily bound to interaction with the students through the clicker device. The questions can be put in the PowerPoint as frequently or infrequently as needed. There's the possibility of ad hoc engagement with the students. So we could do an impromptu question in the middle of a presentation. And at all times, the professor and the students really control the flow of the clicker session. So the technology that we selected is relatively transparent. There's not a sense that I'm really bound to structure that the clicker system's provided. Rather, the clicker system allows us to engage students and reach everyone in the classroom. And that's not something that would typically be possible in a section of 150. Dr. Hartman's going to talk specifically about how we've used the clicker devices in advising, so I'm going to hand the conversation off to her.